Today I'm going to be showing you how to set up a Monero node, and what we're going to first do is update the system by selecting these commands and entering them into the terminal. Now it will be a moment before it completes, but once it is complete we can go ahead and start installing our dependencies. Great, the system is up to date. Now we can begin installing the dependencies. Now installation of dependencies may take a while, but once the dependencies are installed, we'd be able to compile Monero. So we want to make sure that we are in the home directory. We're going to go ahead and create a new user named blocks. You'll want to enter in a password. Of course, confirm that password. This information is not necessary. You just press enter. Yes. And now we're going to want to make blocks a member of the sudo group. We're going to switch over to the user blocks. And now it's time to clone Monero off of GitHub. Clone. Now you'll want to change the directory into the Monero. Make sure it's the latest version, of course. And now it's time to compile. Now I've gone ahead and sped up the video as it does take a moment to compile Monero. It takes roughly about 10 to 15 minutes. Now that it has been compiled, we can go ahead and make it globally accessible. So you'd be able to enter it into the terminal in case you want to get the status or anything of that. In order to do that, we will need to install Nano. Once Nano is installed, we can go ahead and enter into the bash source and go to the end of the file, to which we enter an export path. Save the file, of course. Reload the session. And now, as you can see, it's accessible from the command line. Make sure it looks like that output in the screenshot. You can confirm it does look like the output from the screenshot. Now we can go ahead and terminate the process by pressing Ctrl+C. Next, we'll want to make it into a service, so that way if the server does reboot, it will automatically be executed. That way you're always up to date on the blockchain. We need to reload this services. We'll need to enable it, and then we can go ahead and start it. Once it's started, feel free to reboot the server. Of course, checking the status first to see if it's running. You can do that as well. Once the server has been rebooted, you can install htop. It'll automatically run right after it's installed. And as you can see, it has executed successfully upon restarting the server. And that's it. You now have a fully developed and online Monero node. Thank you. Have a great rest of your day. Be sure to subscribe and like.